Hey, blessings, beautiful, amazing soul tribe. It's Carina with my cold sore. Still got it going on. Just gonna call it out because you might be like, what's on her lip? That's what's on my lip. But that's not what this video. The video is about how to stop like catastrophic thinking. If you're somebody, especially right now in this time of the coronavirus. So if you're somebody who is prone to, and you know who you are, prone to catastrophic thinking, prone to leaning into the worst case scenarios and being run by the fear that's generated from that, then this is especially for you because, I'm one of those people. I can be prone to catastrophic thinking. I'm definitely not one of those people who are naturally like the glass is half full. No, I actually do this work and I started meditation practice many years ago because of the opposite. I had a lot of fearful thinking that was keeping me really stuck, actually keeping me stuck in panic attacks. So I uncovered and I discovered meditation, and the way that it freed me up was because it taught me how to work with my mind, and that's what I want to talk to you today. I want to mention just like 3 things that can be really helpful right now in this time. If you feel like you're getting lost in catastrophic thinking, and if you're joining live, say, hey, I'd love to know who you are. So like yesterday, for example, my husband's watching the news. My beautiful, amazing husband is watching the news, and it's about what's all on the news. Like, you can't stop from hearing about it, is this virus. And it is so easy for our mind to just go and totally spin out. Is yours? I'm imagining in my catastrophic mind, my whole family succumbing and, not being able to do anything, not being able to fly anywhere, my God, what's going to happen? Our whole lives getting changed and shifted around. And really, it matters. It's a big deal. We absolutely have to protect ourselves and do everything we can to prevent this from spreading. And at the same time, we can't let catastrophic thinking ruin our lives, because seriously, life is now. And if you're finding that your well-being is being sacrificed because you're lost in thoughts about shit that's not even happening in your life right now, then that's a problem. That's a problem that gets to get handled and taken care of. Like, see it as a problem. You don't have to be stuck in worry. And these 3 things will help you with that, I hope. So he was watching the news, and I noticed my anxiety level elevating. And I noticed my mind starting to do its thing of like going into fear thoughts, right? About what's going to happen, what could happen to me, what could happen to my family, what's going to happen to my clients and my students, what's going to happen to our travel plans for April, what's going to happen to all this stuff, right? And so, and I was starting to get like tight in my body, contracted and closed up. And listening to the news, you guys, that's number 1 on my list. Obviously take care. This is preliminary, right? Like, wash your hands, take the utmost care to keep your immune system highly functioning. I should talk, right? I have this cold sore. So obviously my immune system is compromised right now. And so I'm being especially careful about like keeping my hands clean, keeping my anxiety, tending to my mental health and my well-being so that I'm not stressing my body out more, so that my immune function stays optimal. So obviously do those things, right? But aside from that, what else can you do to manage your mind and your emotions so you're not ruining the precious life that you have here, right? Coronavirus or not, life is now. And if you're finding that, again, your well-being is being compromised because you're freaking out, it means that your mind needs some tending to. It means you haven't trained your attention in such a way that allows you to unhook from that. So the first thing you can do is just tend to your environment. Know the facts, but don't watch the news. Like the tone of the news I was noticing yesterday, because that's just how news is. I don't watch the news. I listen to NPR. I do Up First in the morning. It's a podcast. My sister turned me on to it. It's amazing, 15 minutes, and I just feel like I'm connected to what's happening in the world. However, this is a little bit more but don't have the news on, because it is the tone of the reporters. It comes from fear, right? The news always magnifies, conventional news magnifies bad news. It is a magnification of the negativity bias of the mind, which is to focus on what's wrong, right? Our minds naturally do that, by the way. It's part of our nervous system's adaptation to survival, is that we have, as long as we have these nervous systems, I mean, right now in their current state, the negativity bias, with an untrained mind, you will be seeking and looking for what's wrong. So most people don't really tend to their minds, right? So they're just thinking the same thoughts every day, and a lot of those thoughts are fear thoughts, because that's part of the negativity bias. Default thinking, thoughts that just naturally happen on their own, that you don't cause them to happen, they're just happening. If you were to look at them, a lot of them are negative. And so that's why meditation practice is so helpful, because we unhook from that negative thinking, which a lot of times we're attached to. We're believing our thoughts all the time. We don't even realize it. But if you learn to watch your mind instead of hooking into it, that's number 2. So number 1, don't watch the news, but know the facts. So I'll drop a couple links below of or one link especially, which is helpful for me. It's just the numbers. So I can see, oh, okay, this is how many cases there are. This is how many people have died from it, right? And it keeps changing. But at least I know the numbers, so I'm being clear about what's actually happening, rather than having that overlay of fear tone. Do you know what I mean? Like, the world is ending, It's like, whoa, I can't handle, my nervous system is way too sensitive. So I told my husband to turn the news off and stay informed some other way. Read it, or something like that, but I don't want to be hearing it all the time. It amplifies the fear. So, you want to minimize that reactivity, that activation of the nervous system as much as you can, especially if you're empathic. If you have a sensitive nervous system, then you want to, if you've had trauma, you want to bring down as much as you can that overlay. Do you know, when you watch a sporting event, and if you turn the volume off and you don't listen to the announcer, you have a completely different experience of the game? Usually you're not as hyped up, you're not as amped up. It's the overlay that causes that, and that's what the news is. It's just this overlay. It's and why have that if you don't need it? So just keep track of the numbers, right? And stay present with the facts, rather than getting lost in what it means, what that could mean down in the line into the future. Presence is your best friend. You can always handle what's happening right here and now. So number 2, thoughts are going to happen. You have to let thoughts happen, but don't focus on them. And this is the place where, if you haven't learned to manage your mind, or you haven't learned to train your mind, start today. You deserve to live a life that is fulfilling and nourishing and connected and vibrant and in alignment with your deepest soul calling and purpose. And I'm telling you, if you're just letting your mind take you off on all of its many journeys, that isn't happening for you. So it's not just, I feel like it is a necessity. This is it. This is the only life you got, coronavirus or not. If you die from it, you know what I mean? All of us will, the finish line is the same for all of us. So staying lost in worry or catastrophizing is you're shitting on the gift that you've been given. You really are. And if you're letting your mind take you on dark corners, Annie Lamott said, my mind is like a bad neighborhood. I never go there alone. So do you have a flashlight? Do you have a friend? Are you just going into the bad neighborhood all the time, alone, and wondering why you're so miserable? Stop it. Get help. Get support. Start meditating. Learn how to train your mind. Because if you don't, that's what it's up to. Your thinking mind is constantly telling you the worst case scenario. I used to have panic attacks as a kid. I always thought I was dying from some disease that I would hear about. because my mind would take me on these dark journeys, and that forced me to learn to unhook from it. Unhooking is not getting rid of, but it's something that you can do. One of the ways that you can unhook, well, meditation, right? So meditating, like, you're going to hear that and you're not going to do it. I know if you're not meditating and you just hear that, you're just going to listen. Like, what can I do to get you to do it? I have a YouTube channel. It's Carina Nickerson, right? I have like 24 guided meditations. Why don't you right now pause this video and do that? If you're really struggling right now, like, get unhooked from your thinking, because it's going to help you a whole lot. Okay, and get whatever support you need to get around that. If you're a worrier, you need to meditate. You do. Unless you just want to crap your life away every day. Like, seriously throwing it away every day. Because that's what worry does. It goes nowhere. And when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to be like stoked that you spent so much time lost in what could happen. Stop borrowing suffering from the future. And I know I'm being like hard here, but you need to hear it. Because worrying and then worrying about worrying and all of that. So stick to the numbers. Number one, just look at the numbers, turn off the news. Number two, let hot thoughts happen, but learn how to unhook from them. Meditation is helpful with that. Focusing out is really helpful for that. Literally, when you're worrying, your attention is all inwardly drawn. So focus it out. I call it like just shine it out. And be like in meditation with your life. Like right now, this is the only thing in my life right now. I'm not thinking about what's going to happen even an hour from now. I am just here. And I have an intention to enjoy and to be like focused out and to be engaged. Engagement, focusing out, and being present with what you're doing. One moment at a time. It's like a necessity to live this way. It's a necessity to live this way. That's why those of us who have these comfortable lives, something like this happens and we're totally thrown off track, because now our concepts about the future that we felt so safe with are busted open. You have to get out of living in the concepts about the future and start to live for now. And it is a practice, and no one does it alone. So, breathe. If you're consciously breathing, not just in meditation, but as you're walking down the street, as you're doing the dishes, as you're like doing anything, driving, breathe. If you're not aware of your breath, and what you're doing is you're spinning thoughts. So be with your breath like your life depends on it, because it does. The minute your breath is gone, you die. One breath is one breath less. Seriously, in Zen we say, great is the matter of life and death, and time slips quickly by. Life slips quickly by. Time waits for no one. Wake up. Do not waste your life. There's never been a better time to practice than now. Wake up. It's now. Life is now. And do everything you can to stay present. Be with your breath. Engage fully. Right? That's like so huge. That's number 2. Number 3, surrender your worry to the beloved. This is so important. When I was little and I used to be such a worrier. Any worriers, like any recovering worriers, like I knew how to worry from the time, my sister can relate to this too. Like we were worry warts. And you think about a worry wart, right? How does that develop? I remember my Nana sitting me down and saying, because I would worry myself sick. And she would say, sometimes, Carina, you just have to put your worry on the shelf. And I imagined myself putting this one worry I had, I don't know what it was, but I put it on the shelf, and she said, God's taking care of that. And the thought that something bigger than me was taking care of my worry was so comforting. And it lifted so much for me at that time, and I still remember it, and I still do it. I lift up anything I'm worried about that is beyond my control. That serenity prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Serenity happens when we've done everything we can, right? We know the numbers. We're taking good care of our health. What more can we do besides that? Any other worries that we have, when you notice a worry thought, give it up to the beloved. Give it up to the wisdom that beats your heart and breathes your breath beyond your will. There is a divine orchestration happening here. It is totally trustworthy, right? Your life depends on it. If it wasn't for that wisdom, you wouldn't be here. I don't mean that in some weird esoteric way either. I mean it like quite literally. Your heart would stop beating and you would die. I mean, that wisdom is unfathomable, and you are dependent upon it more than your ego wants you to know. And so we can't possibly know what's going to happen in the future. You want peace? It happens now. You deserve peace. If you're someone fretting right now over what's going on, you're probably someone who has that show up in other areas of their life. And if you want real peace, you probably need some support. And you're not getting the right support because you're still in the place that you were. So I have a few sessions in my calendar today. I wanted to make them available for people who are really serious about unhooking from fear and worry in their life. People who are really serious about living a life of like connected to their calling, connected to their path. And it is absolutely possible no matter what your history has been. And so I have a link in the description. So book a call with me. They're just today. I have some time. So, and I'd like to spend it with you, but please don't book it if you're not serious. Like, only book it if you're really serious about making changes, you know? If you're serious about doing more work with me beyond the call. If not, don't book the call. I only work with people who are really serious about transformation, and it ain't gonna happen in one session. Anyone who tells you it will is blowing smoke up your ass. So let me revisit the 3 things again. Know the facts, stay away from the news. I'll drop a link to the numbers, right? So you can just like know what the numbers are, and you can like, knowing the facts is so helpful because it's helpful for me, you know, and we can really know what's going on, not just the hysteria and the tone of the news that's coming through right now. This is all in the service of taking care of your nervous system. You really do deserve to be free from the suffering of fear. Number 2, let thoughts happen, okay? You're going to let them happen, but you're going to meditate to help you. That's a long-term plan for you unhooking from fear. You should just be doing that every day, like brushing your teeth. Everyone should. Like, everyone on the planet should be doing that. But if you're watching this video, you especially need to start meditation. If you don't have a practice, start one today. Let me know beneath this video I'm starting one. I have a YouTube channel, Carina Nickerson. 24 freely offered meditations. You can go pull one out right now and do it. And part of that is focusing your attention out and being fully engaged with what's happening in your life right now. So life is a meditation when you're fully engaged with it, right? Studies show that when you're doing that, you're happier than when you're dreaming about your next vacation. Isn't that interesting? Our hearts long for presence. We're called towards presence, right? So live now, that's not just a cool like slogan. It's actually a practice, a very important practice for a fulfilling life. Use your breath, right? The breath, be with your breath. Right now, are you with your breath? It's really hard to spin catastrophic stories when you're aware of your breathing. When you're filling your body with your awareness, embodiment. That's why I am the founder of the Embodied Mindfulness School. Embodiment will save your life. Like, literally. I don't mean like you won't die. I mean it will give you your life back. Like the true peace and happiness that are your birthright. And then number 3, surrender to the beloved. And just watch this video again if you're not sure what that means. And I hope this helps you if you're serious about transformation and you're serious about living a life with more freedom from fear and more in line with the deep calling that you have. You know, I especially work with spiritual folks who are sick and tired of backing down and playing small and being a slave to their nervous system and being in that trap of healing. Oh, I've got to heal all the way before I really make momentum or to step forward in my life. No, you don't. And I'd like to talk to you more about that. And so you can book only if you're serious. You can book a call with me. I have some time open today. There might be some time tomorrow and Saturday. I did a masterclass last night and I had a few spots left open from that offering. So I'm opening them up to you. And you can book a call with me today or Friday or Saturday, and I will help you find, some ground and centeredness today, whatever you're going through. You're going to see some benefit today, but please don't book a call with me unless you're serious about doing more continued work together. All right? Sending you so much love and many, many blessings. Let me know what about this video served you, and namaste.